Hey, Kurt Mortensen here. What are those top 10 things you're doing right now that annoy and repel people and you don't even know it? This is beyond people skills. This is before people skills. You're repelling people. You're causing resistance. You're annoying people and don't even know it. You know that annoying person that you work with? You know that person that you just always want to say no to? You know that person that rubs you the wrong way? You know that person that thinks you're funny but they're not? That could be you. That is you. You don't even know it. Of course you can get along with people that are just like you. That's easy. Anybody can do that. But you got to get along with everybody. If you want to persuade, influence, negotiate, lead, whatever it is, you've got to get along with people. Quit repelling them. There's things you're doing right now that are so easy to fix, you're just not aware of them. So let's take a deep dive and understand exactly how this works. This is a piece that I talked about on the podcast at Maximize Your Influence. So please go to maximizeyourinfluence.com. Subscribe to the podcast, get your free book, Maximum Influence, and take your persuasion IQ assessment, see where you rank. Let's start with number one, no particular order. Up to 95% of influence involves a subconscious trigger, a feeling. When you approach someone for the first time, everything's going through your amygdala in your brain. They call it your reptilian brain, your caveman brain, whatever you want to call it. Everything's tainted with feelings, emotions. It could be your breath. That's a big complaint, a bad breath. It could be the words you use, your tone of your voice, the color of your clothes. Do you have facial hair? You're wearing sunglasses. Can they see your eyes? Is all part of that factor. Even smell. When people are near the smell of Cinnabon store, they're more likely to donate to charity. All these things are coming to play. We don't think about it. You talk about the biggest thing that repels people is these subconscious triggers. These what we call association triggers. That is number one. The second thing you need to look at, vomit. You vomit on people. I get interviewed people after you try to sell them, persuade them, close them, negotiate with them, and they've said no. It's because you vomit on them. Here are the 42 reasons. Here are the 17 reasons. Here are the 16 reasons. You're just vomiting all this information. Never was that ever a good way to persuade people. But why? Because you give them two or three reasons not to do it. Two or three things you didn't even think about. Two or three things that cause an objection. Quit vomiting on people. Great persuaders, great salespeople. They are better listeners. In fact, the big complaint is you're talking 3 times too much. You're talking way too much. Quit vomiting on people. It's not persuasive. It doesn't work, and that's a huge complaint. Quit doing that. Number 3, getting too friendly too fast. Right? It could be insincere with your people skills, your connectivity, where it's like, all right, cheese ball, high lactose, hello. These cheesy things just aren't working anymore. That could be a big complaint. Getting too friendly too fast, looking around their office or home talking about things that they're tired of talking about, that every salesperson brings up, every influencer brings up. Hello, too friendly too fast. Maybe you're in their office, being too comfortable, touching their things. Any of these things could be getting too friendly too fast. We live in a society now and things have changed to where some people don't even want to get friendly. They don't want to connect. They go right into the presentation, right into building trust, knowing that you're the expert, but you're trying to be friendly, chit-chat person, like, all right, don't need it, don't want it, it's fake, it's insincere. Whether it is or not, it's coming across that way. That is a huge complaint with the prospects that you're trying to persuade and influence. Number 4, prejudging. You're prejudge people. And it sucks the life out of you, your presentation, your product or service. There's nothing there. And you might be right 50% of the time. And you're saving time, you're moving on, just going through the motions. But hey, you're missing out on some sales and some negotiations. You could be doing better when you prejudge. Big complaint with people that sell cars. They're focusing on the man instead of the woman. The woman might be the decision maker. She's part of this decision. She might have the money. But we all assume sometimes, fight back and forth, different things that aren't even true. When you prejudge and think they're not going to buy, they're not going to do it, they're not smart enough, they're just going through the motions, they're just putting me off, it sucks the life out of you. And they sense it, they can feel it, they know you're going through the motions. And of course you're not persuasive because you prejudge them. You need to give everyone 100% every time, even if you don't think they're going to do it. Why? Because they might do it. Why? Because they know people who can do it. Why? Even if they say no, it gives you a good chance to practice your persuasion or influence your sales skills in front of a live person. That's why. Number 5, proxemics. That's the study of space, where you're getting too close, you're that close talker, that people don't want that. You violated their personal space. Everyone's a father, grandfather, man, you probably have been through this. They have their favorite chair. When the stranger fits in their favorite chair, man, the energy in the room, it's just, ooh, it's tense. So you gotta be careful. And this does vary by personality, varies by culture, but when you invade someone's space, right, that repels them. It's just too much. Maybe you're a close talker. Maybe you come in for the hug too fast. Maybe you've touched something on their desk. You're sitting too close to them. Even with men, sitting on a slight angle at a restaurant or at a office, that's less confrontational. So it's how you sit, how close you get. I would rather be too far than too close. And you might not have that filter to know how close you should be standing to somebody. So how you sit, how close you get, standing, sitting, it doesn't matter. Be very careful of proxemics. That will repel people almost faster than anything else. When they're in your personal space, touch your personal things, sit in your chair, move things in your office, touch things on your desk, fill in the blank here. That is a big one a lot of people don't even think about, but proxemics is a huge. If you want to know more about proxemics, go to the archive on the podcast Maximum Influence, how to maximize your influence, and listen on proxemics and the different science behind that. Let's get into number 6. Only talking about yourself. Only talking about your company. Being one-sided, that's huge. Basically, going back to it, you're talking way too much. It's all about you. It's almost like you're covering up low confidence. You're coming across as arrogant. Just talking about yourself. Again, this could be company, product, service. There's no dialogue. There's no exchange. You're just a vomiter. You're not a consultant. We've talked about that. But you got to realize you've got to have an exchange here. That's what it's all about. When it becomes very one-sided. Again, whether it be information or about you, about whatever you're talking about, people turn off. It repels them. They don't like it. Even when you're just trying to get to know somebody on a date, it's all about you and what you do and all your accomplishments. Repels people, repels. It needs to be a two-way street here, especially in the beginning when you're creating this people skills, that's relationship. You got to have that give take there and not focus only on yourself. Number 7, negative attitude. Yes, they can sense it. You put on the fake smile. Maybe you just fought with somebody. Fake smile. Having a bad day. Fake smile. Okay, I'm with you. Fake smile is better than no smile. But they can sense something's up. They're like, oh yeah, they just had a fight. They just sense something's up. Something's wrong. It's no secret. And we talked about this on the podcast, this last podcast, that optimists not only live longer, make more money, have more friends, build more trust, but they make more money and they're better at influence. Now, not the type of optimist where people want to hit you because you're always positive all the time, but for the most part, things are going to work out. That's your attitude. Attitude comes from your expectations. If you expect to have a rotten day, it's not going to work out. They're going to say no. It's going to be, everything's going to fall apart. Of course that's going to happen because attitude comes from expectations. Don't be a chameleon like your friends and family that wait for something to cut them off or a bad thing to happen to dictate their attitude for the day. Great persuaders, influential people, charismatic leaders all decide ahead of time what their attitude is going to be for that day, regardless what happens. I know there's bumps in the road. You're going to be beat up. The universe is going to test you. Whatever phrase you want to use here, it happens. But for the most part, you got to know things are going to work out. You're going to have a decent attitude because that's contagious. Good attitude's contagious. Bad attitude's contagious. Same thing. Pessimism's contagious. Optimism's contagious. Work on it. It makes a huge difference in your success. Number 8. Unnecessary questions, too many questions, strange questions, weird questions. But you're like, wait, Kurt, you said you have to ask 3 times more questions, and you do. That's part of the process. But here's the thing. Are you that lawyer who's quizzing someone on the witness stand? You have those probing questions that they want to resist. You're repelling them. It's too personal. Versus, are you a doctor who's asking questions, trying to find the root of the problem? It's the type of questions, how you ask those questions. And so when you think about questions, are they repelling people? Are they annoying people? Are they open to them? They want to ask them. Did you get permission to ask questions? Or, you come across as that lawyer, they're like, no, I don't want to reveal this information. Or you're that doctor where you're like, here, yes, look at it all. Help me, fix me. I'm sick. I need help solve my problem. So look at those questions you're asking. Did you get permission to ask those questions? Did you start with the easiest questions first? Those are all things you need to think about when you're in persuasion, influence, negotiation mode, whatever it is. Questions are good. I'm all about that. And questions always get answered. Questions are a power tool. But how are you asking this? How are you coming across? Getting that lawyer that's going after you, asking the questions, trying to get you. Or are you the doctor? Like, yeah, I do. I have this challenge, I have this. And you're open, you're honest because they are the expert. You've accepted them as the expert and you want to solve your challenge. Number 9, coming across too smooth. Isn't that interesting? When you're too polished, you're too smooth, you know all the answers, it's just flowing really well, you're not making any mistakes, you haven't revealed any mistakes or things you've done wrong in the past. I'm telling you right here now, trust is at an all-time low, credibility is at an all-time low, and if you're too good to be true, even though it is true, it's not true to them. You're too smooth, there's no mistake, it's a perfect product, it's a perfect you, it's a perfect company. Hey, you've got to reveal some flaws. Not the major ones, but kind of reveal a weakness and turn it into a strength. That's part of credibility and trust. It's a whole nother module, but think about it. When you're too smooth, too polished, everything's perfect. Someone's like, ding, 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 something's got to be wrong. Something's up. And what happens in this situation is they make up a flaw. They make up a weakness. They make up a mistake. And that's not what you want. Give them a minor weakness or mistake, something that happens. Because, again, if you're too good to be true, even though it is true, it's not true to them. So it's okay to not be perfect, to own up to a few mistakes, to show them that you're human. I know in the world of giving presentations and keynote addresses and seminars that, hey, it seems like people almost like you more when you make a mistake, when you trip on stage or drool on yourself or whatever it is. Okay, fill in the blank there. I don't know where the drool came from. But anyway, when you make those type of mistakes, that can be a challenge. And number 10, arguing with the prospect, trying to prove that you're right and they're wrong. I love what Ben Franklin says, hey, a person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. You can show them the facts and figures and prove that they're wrong and win the argument because it feels good. Yeah, I won, but you're not going to sell them, you're not going to persuade them, you're not going to influence them. You've bruised their ego. Think about the law of esteem and maximum influence. You bruise their ego. Basically, you bruise their ego, it shuts the doors to persuasion. You enhance it, it opens the doors. And that's one way to, hey, prove that they're wrong, argue with them, show them that they're dumb, they're stupid, bring up all those bad experiences from the school teachers that did the same type of thing, or parents. This is not a good thing. And that's what great persuaders do. Your job is to help them persuade themselves. Lead them down the path to help them realize that maybe they need to change, maybe that they're not correct, but you help them discover for themselves to do it. Because when you point to it, you show them, you prove it to them, even though it feels good. Won the argument. You've lost the sale. You've lost the negotiation. That's not what you want. So you are annoying. You are repelling people. Own up to it. You're doing it. I know you're doing it. You know you're doing it. If you're saying, oh, I don't do any of those things, man, you're in denial. No wonder you're broke. These are things that make a huge difference. So pick one of them. Pick one of these that, yeah, I probably should do better there. That's the key. Just work on one thing we become more persuasive, more influential. That's the key. Hey, I appreciate your time. Hit like, subscribe, tell your family, friends, and enemies. Any additional information, go to maximizeyourinfluence.com. Take that persuasion IQ assessment. It's not sugar-coated, but see where you rank. Because you can't improve your skills unless you know where you are with your persuasion and influence skills. And I'm passionate about this. This is something we should have learned in school. Right? This is why the number one success skill, persuasion and influence. Everything you want in life's on the other side of persuasion. So master these skills, become better at influence, become better at negotiation, and go out and persuade with power.